Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach and welcome to my latest team update. About 17 days to go till round one now. Doing this one on the Monday, but I'm pretty sure I'll post it on the Tuesday. A little bit has changed, I must say, just a bit of tinkering, so it'll be interesting to see how it all looks, and hopefully I don't have any technical difficulties like I did last time. But just before we get stuck into my team, just a look at how we were shaping up. I think it was maybe a week and a half ago when I last did my side, so as blurry as it is, that was pretty much my side a week and a half ago. And I must say, a little bit of change in that back line, a slight tinker in the midfield premiums. Same goes for the forward line. So I'll throw it over to my team as it is now. Once we get our internet flowing here. There we go. So I'll give you a quick glance at that, and then we can sort of roll through it as a full side and position by position. So first off, we'll start with the back line. As you can see, Yo is there, Christian Salem is there, there's no Cam O'Shea, which there's a few ins and outs. As you can see, I'm a real wizard on the laptop, some pretty intense graphics there, but as you can see, they're the three backline guys, and roughly the change. The thinking behind it, I thought initially the reason I got rid of Yo, and he's not an absolute lock, but I did say when I got rid of him that I was concerned with a bit of injury, as well as his second half to last year and the fact he's only had one premium season as a super coacher. But looking at it as a whole, I had Pierce Hanley. I lost faith in him a little bit against the Cats, just wasn't playing that midfield role. Again, he's not written off by any means. If he plays midfield next week, then clearly he'll be on the radar again. Christian Salem for the same reason. I did a player profile on him. Really like his prospects, particularly if he's through the midfield, which it looks like he will be. But I do think if Yo is playing midfield, and I saw his first game, he got about 20 touches, a few clearances, named in the Eagles best, there's such an opportunity for him there. So I think probably he will be a likely starter, as he will be for most. Also, I brought this young fella in, which I should probably put on the field, and I would if we were having round one right now. For whoever it would be, but I really like what Norton brought to the table against the Hawks. He looked really assured at AFL level, a likely type. Obviously, clearly he is because he's top draft pick, but I think he could slot in quite nicely to the Doggies back line, particularly with Dale Morris being out, and he did look to read the play pretty well there. So a little bit of tinkering. Hanley's still in the mix, Hibbard's still in the mix, Yo is far from cemented. Luke McDonald would have to probably do a fair bit to impress me. I was a little bit concerned about that. You really need a guy like that to be on fire through the preseason, basically. So he'd need to play pretty well in that final JLT match to get me over the line. But look, so would Salem. I mean, he's going to need to have another good game. So still a little bit up in the air. But one thing that I did change in the midfield, which was probably something I didn't anticipate, was Joel Selwood. Now, I pumped him up in the player profile, and I do still stand by that. I think he's going to have a very good season, but just a couple of things that had me a little bit concerned. And watching Kelly, all of a sudden I really wanted to get him in. That was one of the main things. I looked at Josh Kelly and I thought, I know he's probably priced at close to his peak, but I really think he could average 115 to 120 around there. And I think he's someone I really wanted to get my hands on. And just with Joel, he wasn't named for the JLT game. That's no big concern, but just a little bit concerning that, I looked at his back end of last year and mainly the body. That was my only concern. I don't doubt his scoring and his form. Gazza and Dangerfield are going to cop so much attention. I think Selwood's the third man in that midfield now. I think he's going to be able to score well. But the concern, he's such a battering ram. The way he's played his career, so many hits, so many knocks. Was there signs last year that that's starting to catch up to him physically? Maybe. That's one concern of mine. And the concussion thing. You can almost bank on him to get one concussion a year. If that happens in the first 5 minutes, we're probably looking at 3 points. If we get a bit lucky, maybe it happens in the last quarter and he's on 90. But just a slight risk. And Kelly, I wanted to bring him aside, and Joel Selwood was probably the man that just said, look, there's a little less certainty about what I'm bringing to the table. You know, a guy who is a bit older, has played such a contested brand, a battering ram. So that's where that's at for the minute. It hurts me to get rid of Joel. I really wanted to start him, but that's where I'm at with that. And I just freed up a little bit of coin with Will Brodie. So by no means is Brodie gone. I thought he was pretty good against the Cats. I liked what he was doing. But sort of those three guys along here could be all exchangeable. Particularly, you know, you'd say I'd start with these boys. But any one of those 180k sort of midfielders, if you need that extra 60, 70 coin, then you can probably free it up by downgrading to, you know, Banfield looked really good. Kelly, I'm really liking his prospects. Barry likewise, and Holman was impressive. And midfield's looking good. So I think plenty of rookie options through the back line, through the midfield. It's the forward line rookie options that are concerning. I'll get to that in a sec. But I don't think there was much else in the midfield. No, that was pretty much it. And yeah, the forward line's interesting. Christensen, as I mentioned in the JLT wrap, similar to Pierce Hanley, lost a little bit of faith given I didn't see him lining up enough centre bounces as I would have liked, playing more half forward. Just has me a little bit worried. I think I really wanted to lock Christensen in as a leader in the Brisbane Lion team, a leader, a midfielder, real responsibility, but he seemed to play a bit more forward, and the likes of Tom Bell and Reece Matheson, those types of guys rolling through the midfield, Hugh McCluggage, so Jared Berry. Maybe Christensen, they see his best position as that sort of forward that goes through the midfield at times. I'd rather it the other way around. So I got a little bit concerned, and as we do as super coaches, we always justify moves when we want to do something else. And look, I think I needed to get 100k somewhere else. I think I needed either upgrade Hanley to Yo or Selwood to Kelly. In some form, I needed an extra bit of coin. And I was looking around and I thought, well, Christensen, he can be removed. I'm not cemented with him. I'm not falling in love with him there. I am a little bit concerned by the lack of forward line rookies, which, you know, fielding 2 instead of 1, will it cost me? You know, that move's not locked in. That's not set in stone. But that is something I felt I would do just to get a bit of extra coin to do moves elsewhere on the field. And Christensen, if he's not in a position I feel he can score really well, then it just doesn't add up for me because his body's a massive concern. Probably, if I was going to go a mid-pricer at F5, it'd probably be Tom Bell, I reckon. Someone like Tom Bell, who's shown he can score real well, contested ball, and if he's getting opportunity through that midfield, he could be someone at, I think he's 287, so it could be interesting. And Billings was another man I brought in for Dalhouse. I've said it on the JLT, Dalhouse's kick to handball ratio just concerns me. I just think he's just not a damaging player like I seem to remember him. He used to be much quicker and seemed to have more of an impact on the game, where now he just seems to be that link man, just a bulldog who hands it off. He dishes sort of a sloppy handball out of the pack. He still wins contested ball, still tackles hard, but he's heavily in that rotation of the forward line, you know, those small doggies in the forward line, you know, Libber, Hunter, Dunkley, all those types, Wallace. You know, it just looks like a forward line that's going to have smalls going through it all the time. And I really wanted Dalhouse to be a midfielder, a bit like Christensen. I wanted to get that message from JLT that this man is a mid. You know, that's what I wanted to see. His best position is midfield. Let's put him there. And I didn't see that. I know a lot of players rotate forward these days, but the percentages were just a little off for mine. But again, it's just one JLT game. They could go completely opposite next game, because sometimes clubs' second practice match is more of a dress rehearsal for round 1. So it could change. It could change. I mean, I do want to start Billings. I mean, he's been named to play second JLT game, and I really want to start him. So it will take a bit to remove him, but that's pretty much where I'm at. The ruck stayed the same. I'm fairly comfortable. I mean, if you look at that side, there's no mid prices, which is really interesting because, I mean, you could probably argue Salem is one. You could probably argue Petrarca is one. Fair enough. But in my eyes, there's no genuine mid-price guys. And I'm fairly comfortable with that. The only thing at the moment, I'm liking the look of my back line. I'm enjoying that. Salem will need to just convince me once more. Yo, I just need a little bit of a push. I don't need too much to pick him. I'm fairly happy with him if he's fit. Midfield, I'm really loving. I'm really enjoying next generation style midfield. I mean, Fife and Martin, clearly we know they're stars, but even Bont, I feel, has got another gear. Cripps has shown how good he can be. I reckon we'll get back to that. Kelly, I think he's going to be a top handful of players in the next 5 years, and I think that starts now. I think last year we almost didn't cotton on to just how good he is sometimes, or at least being a Victorian. That ruck, I'm fairly comfortable with. I think the Grundy and Cox combination is fine. I think Cox is playing far more forward, so I'm pleased with that. It's really just the forward line. Heaney didn't set the world on fire, but I'm not too worried about that. I think he just about picks himself. Unless there's any niggles, I don't need to see much from him. I'm a massive fan of Heaney, and the lack of forward line options, at least in my opinion, makes him so hard to refuse. Wingard, Billings, really enjoy what they can do. Damaging players. I talk about Dalhouse, how maybe he can have 25 and it's 9 kicks, 16 handballs, doesn't hurt you that much. These guys only need 22, 23. They're damaging and they'll have an influence on many games. Petrarca I really love. But the forward line's the main thing. It's so hard to tell rookies, and like I said here, Christensen out for a place-holding rookie. There really was no one that I said, yep, that's a straight swap for him because I want him. It was more so I need a free-up coin. Christensen's, exchangeable, and let's bring in whoever it is. Rioli, will he play, will he not? We'll see. He's one who probably has to push his case. Fritz was really impressive. He's probably the most likely of these four. Ryan didn't set the world on fire, but I do like his prospects. And Garlett, I'm not sure what the extent of that shoulder was. I don't think there was too much wrong with it, but there's not many options at the moment, and there's not even that many options 40 or 50k north of them, in my opinion. I don't think Higgins is going to play round one, so there isn't a stack, and a lot of the sort of guys from 150 to 190, there's quite a few key forwards in there too, guys who are developing, so it's real tough. I mean, depending how the round one teams go, I might have to bite the bullet somewhere and potentially go, whether it's a Tom Bell at F5 or something like that. I might just have to find 160k somewhere. I don't think I've got much in the bank. No, only 5k, so I don't even know what I would do. It would probably involve downgrading Norton, maybe downgrading one of my boys here, and that would hopefully open up anywhere from 60 to 75, and likewise that might open 50 odd up. Again, I'd probably be just short. Maybe I can manipulate a few of these rookies just to find extra 5 or 10k, but that's probably what I'd do. I'd rather not. I'm really hoping that over the next 15 days or whatever, we can see a couple of forward rookies really scream pick me and come out and really put their fingertips on round one and take it. And not just round one, not just get named, but be reasonable scorers. Like I look at Kelly, I look at Barry, these boys, you go, not only will they play, but I reckon they could score. Where I look at, particularly these boys and this fella, I'm thinking even if they play, I'm not too sure they're in positions that are super friendly to consistent scores, particularly as a youngster. So anyway, we'll have to wait and see, but that is my side. Hopefully everyone's seen it nicely. I know last time I managed to zoom right up and talk about my team that no one could see, but as I've mentioned, I'm no technical wizard, but I do my best. So let me know your thoughts on the side. Let me know how your team's travelling as well. I'll probably have one, maybe two more of these as we close into the final week, and certainly do some more player profiles, JLT wraps up, structured talk, and a Q&A in some form as well would be cool. So yeah, that'd be good. Let me know your thoughts, subscribe away, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.